And hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Myers-Barber. It is Friday evening, actually Friday night at 9:17 p.m. And I want to thank you for all of your concern, all your prayers, and just for everybody reaching out uh, to see if my husband and I are okay because, of all the devastation that's happening here. Now, we live in Orange County, so many people may not realize that we are about 40 miles south of all of this. And this is really hard. This is a very hard time. I'm watching the news right now, giving all these updates. And at this point, we have 6 active fires going on. Many of them, even at just, well, actually, they've picked up some. The Palisades fire, which is the biggest one that we have, has currently spread to over 21,000 acres, and it's the one that is the most concerning because it is continuing to spread so quickly. It is only at 8% containment, and I guess it's been maybe about an hour ago, I was given some new alerts out to people because there's a brand new evacuation, and this is after 8 p.m. at night. To get out now for near Encino Reservoir from Sunset Boulevard north to Encino, 405 freeway west to Mandeville Canyon. You can follow me at PromoGirl07 on X is where I'm really seeing and getting updates out, or on Facebook, which I am streaming here live on Facebook and my YouTube channel. And then they're doing voluntary evacuations, which is really something. And so I was listening to Fire Chief Eric Scott talk about this, and we're going to go right over to ABC 7 Live in just a moment because of all the alerts and updates are coming so fast. But the Palisades fire was bringing these new evacuations. They're doing voluntarily evacuations, and there were some areas of concern in that. So, but if you're living in the Valley of the Woodland Hills and all those areas, you're watching, you can just look out your window and you're seeing it form, the fire. And so it's really something. And to make things not only crazier or harder or worse, yesterday, everybody that lived in LA County received, and I'll show you this, they received an alert. It panicked so many people. For 22 minutes this went on, where an emergency alert was accidentally sent to every LA County resident. A lot of my friends and family received this, and for 22 minutes they thought they had to get out. Then they got another, I guess, alert saying that it was a mistake. So there was a big technical error that went on, and County Supervisor Janice Hand wrote on X, the correction, would be issued shortly. So this is definitely causing, even more people to panic. But what is so hard about this situation? I'm trying to turn my comments on, because this thing broke out on, the 8th. And this was, where we Friday night, just out of nowhere. And it kept exploding. And so there's just, like I said, there's 6 active fires going on right now, as you've seen. Well, the National Guard has been deployed, and there is a curfew that has been set. And the reason all this is happening is because the people that are evacuating are being told to leave their doors unlocked in case they have to get inside the house and put the fire out. So a lot of these homes are having, fires inside of the house, and so they need to get inside the house. We've had a lot of crazy stuff happening with looting, and that's why the National Guard has been deployed. We're going to go over and take a look at a couple of these developing situations, and then I'm going to take you back over to ABC Live, where we're going to get even more of an update. but more than 600 California National Guard troops have been activated. And let's just pull this story up because there's so many. 8 aircraft heading to assist with these wildfires. And also noticed, because I'm kind of trying to stay up, up with all this, that it appeared that 10,000 troops were being deployed from, I thought they said Mexico, but I'm seeing so much so fast, it's just kind of hard to keep up. And it's very, it's really emotional. My goodness, it's a terribly emotional time seeing all this happen. Another incredible resource that I want everybody to know about is you can go to fire.ca.gov. This is a website that I'm bringing up. I'm going to show you right now because you can get anybody that's living in the state of California. If you want to know about current evacuations and current fires, if you're able to be on your device. I know a lot of people have lost power too. And when I'm watching this stuff, I find that it's just very difficult to keep up with everything because it's happening so fast. And in the beginning, the resources weren't there. And I know you probably heard about this, but the fire hydrants were empty. So there was no water in the fire hydrants. And so not only that, we had that problem, but the winds have been insane, going 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts of 75 miles per hour. And so in these different areas, I try to take notes to keep up with some of this stuff, but it was obviously, they couldn't work. The fire department wasn't able to do their job. And so, oh my God, there's just so much. So let's go over to this one website because I think everybody needs to understand this, especially if you're here, that this is a resource for you. It's fire.ca.gov. We have the Palisades fire happening, this broke out on the 7th. And then we have the Eaton fire that also broke out on the same exact day on the 7th. This one is only a 3% containment, and it's burned over 14,000 acres. The Kenneth fire, that one came out of, just like all of these, it just came out of nowhere. And I mean, I was watching, I watched I think this is the one in Studio City where this one house just went on fire at like 8:52 p.m. I took note of this. This was the night where there was no wind happening at all. And that started the 9th, where, okay, maybe they have more of a grip on this one, 50% containment, over 1,000 acres. And the Hearst fire, so we had 3 start on the same night. And the Hearst fire is at 771 acres at 70% containment. And the Lydia fire, we've moved into 2 pages of fires. The Lydia fire looks like is the one they've got the grip on the most. And that started on the 8th, the day after. I guess all of the big ones did. 98% containment. And then we have a brand new one called the Archer fire, which started today. 0 containment, 19 acres. I did also see that there was a fire in Mission Viejo today, and that is in Orange County, which was very troubling. But it did appear that they were able to get that out. We have 13,926 total emergency responses, 98 wildfires, they're saying, and over 35,000 acres burned. They reported today 11 fatalities, and on this website, there's only 5 here, but the news said 11, so they probably found out more names. And they've had 12,300 plus structures destroyed, which we've seen the devastation everywhere. And then they have a map where you can click on, which I found this very helpful, extremely helpful when I was trying to look into this. And when you're on your device and not on a desktop like this, it seems a lot easier to implement, and you can kind of open up this map and really zoom in on this. And I found it extremely helpful because I was able to without being on my desktop, like right here, it's really acting up. I could really get in there and I could just go right to where the fires are. And that's an extremely helpful resource, especially if you are in a situation where you're one of those people that have the bags packed and you're right there, watching that fire, knowing it hadn't come that close to you, but you almost kind of sense that, it may come your way and you may be one of those people evacuating. So we have a lot to pray about, and we need the rain to come. We need God to intervene, and we need help, and we need help now. I mean, I'm listening to the news, probably for the past 2 hours of this live report, ABC 7, and I'm just thinking, how do they do it? How do they report this so calmly? And also the person in the air, the helicopter, Chris, I think his name's Chris Christie. He's doing a phenomenal job. I've been praying for him. But let's go over and let's listen in, because this is something to see. I mean, and crazy to witness.
Their emergency reps to make sure that we're all, talking to each other and getting prepared for these events. And Fire Chief Crowley is here nearby, monitoring this fire along with me and other council members who have areas which I.
And so what with ABC, 7 like this, we can see the acreage, the containment. I noticed that their focus is the Palisades fire. Although I just showed you, we have 6 active, fires happening this is in Los Angeles. This is about 40 miles north of where I am in Orange County. All this is happening up there. And then this fire has moved into the valley, and it's threatening so many places that I'm just shocked about. And I've kept note of it on my on Twitter, on X, and been trying to document quite a bit of this. The biggest thing that I found really hard was the fact that they're implementing this curfew that is pretty much going sundown to sunset. And they're saying that if you are in any of these fire zones and you are out, even if it's just to go check on your house or just whatever, you will be arrested. And they are really, really taking this serious. Like I said, they've deployed. Wow, Derek. Hey, Derek. So one of your friends just got an evac notice for Bel Air, huh? That is. And here's another thing. If you can come on with me live right now, you probably have some incredible updates. I don't know how I can do that. But is that the richest, most wealthiest areas are burning down. I mean, I said this a couple nights ago. I said, when is Beverly Hills? Is Beverly Hills next? Because of the areas we're seeing just being destroyed and just wrecks with, all these flames of fires are just, right there. And Bel Air is on the edge. It's right there in Beverly Hills. Palisades is their focus. And we are taking a live look. This is happening right now. I mean, our fire people, they are working a night and day. Listen to this.
Councilmember, thank you very much for joining us. And as we watch this.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you again for helping us get the word out about the evacuation orders and emphasizing really to every resident of Los Angeles, if you are in a mandatory evacuation area, please take this seriously. Follow orders from PD, make way for FB vehicles, follow orders from Department of Transportation officials, and let's keep everybody.
Just like Derek just wrote, another thing I want to point out is the Getty is now under a mandatory evacuation. The Villa, which is part of the Getty, 2 nights ago, I think it was, maybe 3, was being shown all over media, and they had some fires. But this is now, we're talking about the Getty, and this is, I've driven by there. We all know these areas. Everybody can recognize these landmark areas that are being evacuated. And I don't know how the traffic pattern is right now. I mean, The 405 has to be just slammed with people. I mean, let's go back over and take a look. And I would have been on top of this more, but my husband has not been feeling very well at all. So thanks everybody for praying. So I've kind of just been trying to honor his sickness.
People who
He's
are
doing
walking
better.
in this area, I see them wearing the mask and taking precaution. Earlier, we saw people evacuating. We saw people packing up their trunks, you know, along North Bowling Green Way.
Okay, so this is looking like Canoga Park. Okay, so basically what happened was we had the fog come over and it made me very sick. It made my husband very sick. And then bam, right after the fog happened, remember everybody, before we had the drones, they're talking about the drones in the air. Then we had the fog and then bam, all the fires just broke out like crazy. And Derek just wrote, they caught some guy in Rancho Palos where he lives setting fires. And we have seen arson happening on a level like you almost think these people have to be gangsters. I mean, who the hell is doing this? They're being deployed into neighborhoods and setting fires. I've seen evidence of a person setting a fire almost in like all the locations. But I know some blue trash cans made it, and this thing is, and I'm not holding back. This is looking just like Lahana, and Lahana we had a house with a blue roof that actually survived some of this. And then there's pictures surfacing now where these blue recycle bin trash bins are making it, and they did not get destroyed, not to mention with the landscape of all the trees. And I wish I could bring up my TikTok on here and show you some of the TikToks. You would just be shocked. Traffic wasn't bad. I've seen a couple. Yeah, that's amazing. So the traffic wasn't that bad. And oh goodness, Derek is reporting that the guy who set the fire got away. And that is sad because I don't know who these gangster people are out there doing this to the area and setting these fires, but it's disgusting. But I also saw that Fox News caught a laser, something coming down from the air. They didn't mean to, but they caught that over one of the beginning of the whole fire. So there's multiple situations that are stirring these fires up. I don't feel like there's just one thing or two things or three things. I think there's multiple attacks, and no one has the answer. All we know is what we see here is it looks like hell. And we have the smoke infiltrating our air, as if the fog wasn't bad enough. Now we have the smoke, and we have air quality alerts. We had those before the fire. Now we have air quality alerts out here in Orange County, and so it's challenging to even go out. The sky is, of course, you can see it up there in the sky. Let's see. Did I hear about the drone that hit the fire plane? Yes, and took it out earlier today. As a matter of fact, this channel here was actually talking about, ABC7 was talking about it. They actually said that anybody flying a drone they will find out who owns that drone, and they will come and arrest you. They said for 1 year prison time, and you will be fined because this drone was up in the airspace and it caused the people that were fighting the fires to have to leave, being in the air, and they could not fight the fire any longer just because of that drone. And so there's a story on that has developed. Let's see what this says.
All first broke out on Tuesday, and he just had the opportunity to finally speak with his family after 2 days. And we forget sometimes that there are families who are waiting for that phone call for all of these folks who are on the front lines fighting for us. So the most important thing that we can do is heed the evacuation orders, heed the evacuation warnings. When you get a warning, get ready. When you get the order, you got to go.
What are you seeing in terms of the presence of the National Guard, excuse me, in your district, in your particular part of this, which would of course be the Palisades fire? Has the call gone out? Are you expecting the National Guard to show up, and when will that be?
Yes, so the National Guard was already out and deployed earlier this afternoon. I saw them while I was out in the district, and I know that they are here to help with road closures, to help with to help assist law enforcement, who is also working to ensure that the curfews are adhered to. It's unfortunate that we even have to have a conversation around a curfew, given that there's so much on the line already. But I know that there are people who are anxious to get into these areas for good reason, because they haven't been back in their neighborhoods. And we just want to make sure that especially those who are trying to get in there for a bad reason, that nobody's accessing these areas while our first responders are out there trying to get this fire under control.
Our meteorologist, Danny Romero, says that, that there will be further Santa Ana wind conditions. We're going to expect something perhaps, I think, Saturday, I believe, and also Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, let's see. Am I still frozen? Anyway, the person who is writing a bunch of comments has, I'm just not going to say this out loud, but you can all read this. And I have an arrow, and I've done a really pitiful job of writing down this words, but this is also being deployed from and is another factor in the fires. And so I basically, being on, this platform and YouTube, I guess there's only so much I can say, without getting in big time trouble. But these things that are happening are not normal. I almost wondered, I don't even want to say this out loud, but you got to wonder the same thing, I'm sure.
Flag warning was in effect all the way through last night. So the conditions that we've seen this week could pick back up next week. We have to make good progress in the next couple of days. That includes aerial water drops. It includes the fire retardant that we see being dropped. That's that red color drop that we've seen on air. And I know in being out in the district with Senator Schiff today, we have been coordinating our efforts to ensure that every level of resource is ready to deploy. We were at Incident Command together and saw, folks from Oregon, people called in from Nevada. We heard that the governor has called folks in from Mexico. We will continue to call in resources to relieve.
There have been 10,000 troops brought in from Mexico. I saw that today.
There's so much at stake, and we are fighting to make sure that Angelenos stay safe and that we protect our community.
That's a lot of relief for a lot of people hearing your words of encouragement, and then you're pulling on people's heartstrings, talking about the firefighters and the law enforcement, the LAPD, everyone who's trying to in the LA County Sheriff's Department. You said it correctly with kids. We had an interview.
Someone's asking me from my YouTube channel if the word I spelled out is trouble. Probably. I mean, it may not be a word that could get someone else in trouble, but because of my name, who I am, for sure, I'm not going to risk it, because they just restored my channel after 3 years. Yeah, wow. There's just so much going on here in the news, and I got to tell you, it's really hard to keep up with all this. Now, if you're just tuning in, I want you to know there is a resource that you can go to, and I wrote it down because this is a challenging time. If you live in California and you want to know if your area is going to be evacuated, or if you want an update with where I read from the very beginning, where we have 6 active fires going on here. And you can see when they started. They started on the 7th. And so today's the 10th. You can go to fire.ca.gov and you will be able to see live updates, and it gives you a map. The map is so incredible because you're able to zoom in on the little fire, and you can just zoom in and you can see all this. And so, okay, Peggy Hall at the Healthy America had a recent video, and she's covered this. That's good. Yeah, and we have a lot of people commenting that know someone that called the truth is basically saying, I remember hearing this 5 years ago that they've had sites on Santa Monica, and I actually found evidence today that there are some lithium mines, just like what we saw over in the Carolinas and Hawaii. So I didn't realize that we had lithium. I may have realized it, but I just had forgotten about it, because I'll always screenshot a bunch of information. I can't keep up with the release of stuff. Let's see what this lady's talking about here.
Evacuated earlier, the Mountain Gate community. What can you tell us?
Mark, police are really starting to take that evacuation order very seriously. About 10 to 15 minutes ago when we arrived, and you can see right now, there's a police officer driving up the street right now. There are people parked along this street heading up the ridge right here, parked along the side taking photos and things like that. And police finally came through and said, hey, sightseeing is over. This is a time to get out. This is not a time to stand here and look at what's happening. But it is incredible. Look, this is
not incredible. It's scary as hell.
That's the Mulholland
they don't know
Ridge
what to
that
say.
We're looking at. I was just speaking with a firefighter from the LA County Volunteer Brigade, and said that that's the Mulholland Ridge that's burning. And you can see at the top that was sprayed by fire retardant. That's really where the flames do stop. As incredible as this looks, I heard Tim saying he had seen it die down over the last little bit, and even in the last 15 minutes that we've been here, you can see that that fire has lost some steam. It really looks like an illuminated ring of fire when we first arrived here. And to give you an idea of how seriously people are taking this, just a few minutes ago, we saw 3 women walking out of a house that must have had a painting that was 8 feet long. There were 3 different people that were carrying the painting. They didn't want to speak to us on camera, but they said, yes, this is something that's of value to us. We can't take the risk. And they were carrying it out of here. The traffic has slowed down. So people seem to have taken this very seriously. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Any of my listeners in this area, I know I just had a friend just come on, Terry, and she's over in the Redondo Beach area. Have you been evacuated, Terry? I know you're going through a really hard time with your mom being in the hospital. We're really sorry about that. Let's please add my friend Terry to your prayers. A lot of my friends are in a terrible situation. I think a lot of them are even getting the news right now that they have to actually evacuate, and some of them are voluntary evacuations. But it's so scary. And you just heard this news lady. She's somewhere out there by the what did she just say? That Mulholland Drive. This is where I know Paris Hilton has multiple homes, but I know she has a home on Mulholland. So I mean, Mulholland is where all the most rich people are. But they're carrying like paintings out, because you I guess when you get in this situation, you really get to see like what is it you're gonna pack up and take along out with you. What is it? And sadly enough, there were crazy people leaving their pets behind. I heard. The only way I could think that could be even possible is if they were literally on fire and ran out. I mean, because I saw this one person on Twitter, and she was a vet, and she was going back and saving all these animals. And so it's very difficult for me to even talk about stuff like this. And then all the wildlife right now that's just being literally taken out. So I don't know if Terry's still with us, but I think a lot of people are evacuating now. I don't know if it's hit Agoura Hills. I lived in Agoura Hills a while back, years ago. I don't think they've evacuated yet, but it looks like everything is just headed toward. And so we need to pray against this thing.
I got used to over the last couple of days, but then watch it change dramatically. Right here on the start of the loop, right there. There's a smoky kind of day around sunset, and then right about 6:30, boom, it just fired up, and that's what got everybody's attention. Because now you saw the actual flames right there on that ridge. But now you look there's a lot less of that there as we look here, the live shot there.
So earlier, before I went live, I was watching Councilwoman Tracy Park, TRACI Park. She came on and she was just giving a lot of good information. So she comes on and she says, there's going to be an uptick in the winds tonight. There's going to be a wind event tonight. And it caught the people here just by surprise. They almost was arguing with her. We haven't heard anything. The weatherman didn't hear this. They didn't want to say, yes, it's true. So these wind events, as they call them, steer in these areas. I think they flare up the wind. So I think Derek came on a little while back ago, and he was talking about the arson that was going on. And we had some other situations where I was holding up the page, telling you about the other situation. I think we have just I think there's modification, going on. That's what I think there is. And so now let's go back over. He's showing God knows what, maybe a new evacuation.
Think he was. Let me shrink it down again and show you the direction that the smoke is going. So this plume is enormous because there's so much fuel here up in the hills that those trees, tremendous and thick trees, are burning right now. The smoke is being carried down in this direction. And the last time we talked to Chris Christie, he was saying that giant plume of smoke was hitting as far south as the Los Angeles International Airport area, right over here, LAX. So you're talking about El Segundo and Hawthorne and Inglewood, Culver City, Marina Del Rey, Santa Monica. And so all of this area, probably even Culver City, Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, all of these folks over here, they're going to be dealing with a really bad air quality situation throughout the weekend. So just to be aware that it's not just the evacuations, it's not just the flames, but the smoke is going to be an issue for quite some time now. So, and it is an enormous amount. I'm going to shrink out one more time. Fire's up in here, but it's all of this community right down here. Oh, sorry about that. Right in here, that's going to be getting hit with that giant plume of smoke. Back to you two.
All right, David Ono, thank you. Keeping an eye on how things are stacking up and where these things are. This is very, very helpful. Kevin Ozebek is here for us, and he's in the Sepulveda Pass watching people watching the fire, it would appear.
Yeah, and Mark, just so you know exactly where we are on Longbow by Skirball, so right on the edge of Sherman Oaks. And since we are somewhat high up, you can see people are gathering here to get a good view of the Palisades fire. Now, there's a fairly big crowd here. Now, some of these people here just want to get a good view. Some of these people here are under those relatively new mandatory evacuation orders and came here to see, how rapidly this fire is spreading or not spreading. Also, we've met some people up here who have their bags packed, ready to go. They're not under a mandatory evacuation orders, but they wanted to be prepared in case that happens. Now, who's been here a lot longer than me is Gabe Santos. What time did you get here? This is one of our colleagues here at ABC7. You guys know Gabe very well. When you got here, Gabe, what did the fire look from this vantage point?
Well, from here you could see a lot of flames. You could see a lot of the big glow. You could see a lot of smoke coming up. I came down from San Diego, probably about in the 6 or 7 o'clock hour, visiting some family. Now I'm coming back home north on the 405, and you as you're passing LAX, even a little further south than that, you just start to see the glow on the hillside, and it becomes very concerning. And you understand why a lot of people in the valley are concerned now. And you add the evacuation, the new mandatory evacuations and the new evacuation warnings to that, and it becomes a concern. So I actually exited the 405 to talk with you guys at the station to kind of tell you guys what I'm seeing. But as I've been here, I've seen a lot less fire activity. I've seen it die down a lot. And this kind of goes with what.
So anyway, we're hearing from, someone that's right there. And I am back on the app. Yes, I think we have multiple situations, and Dane Wigington of geoengineering.com can explain it. And he has a video out, I know, a recent video explaining, this dynamic, this situation. So the Palisades fire, which is what they are covering, ABC7 Live. If you want to go there, you can watch all night. Like, they are up all night. And it's just you could literally go into a panic attack watching it. So I don't recommend it. But I couldn't stop. So the first night I couldn't even go to bed. It was just so hard because it's just so much happening. So Palisades, basically, it's pretty much in between Malibu, which has burned a lot, Malibu, and Will Rogers State Beach. And so I'm looking at the website I gave you, where you can kind of like click on, the fire, and it's back in Topanga area. And so just really insane. And they're watching it from as far back as, did they say the airport? So of course, yes, there's going to be smoke everywhere. Now the Kenneth fire is the one that started a couple nights ago. And I've seen a lot of misinformation because it looks like there's only 1,000 acres that has burned. And so I think when the news gives stuff out, they just type it wrong. And so I spread the wrong information too. And it's on Twitter wrong. So it looks like it's just 1,000 acres, but it is in neighborhoods where, you know, let's say Simi Valley, it's like in between Calabasas. And this was causing people to have to evacuate in some of these areas. Looks like they have a really good grip on that fire though. And then I saw the Hollywood thing was just driving. I mean, everybody was watching Hollywood, you know, catch on fire. And then they had the fake AI Hollywood sign on fire that was totally fake. So if you fell for that, I'm sorry, because it looks so real. And then the Eaton fire is really troubling because that's the Pasadena and is that the Pasadena? Oh yeah, Altadena and the Pasadena, you know, area. And so that's really causing a lot of problems. Eaton fire has burned up 14,000 acres and it's only 3% contained. So you can see why so many people are having to evacuate is because I heard they were understaffed. They had crazy situations with water. There's a video going around TikTok right now where they show the fire department using they're making purses and they're putting out some fire in a dumpster, and that went viral. But that was kind of misinformation because they were using some duffel. But anyway, someone wrote the Kenneth fire is the one in Calabasas is under control. It's 50% contained. That's good. Because the Kenneth fire, I think that was the one I was just looking at. That one. Yeah, that one, that's good. It says here that it's 50% contained. Yeah, so this is good that you're getting information. You're getting the truth. Your name is called The Truth. That's great on YouTube. So thank you for that. It's exactly right. We don't want this to keep going. Like I said, there's 2 pages here. And what's so sad about this is a couple of these, specifically the one that's the Palisades, the one that's launched this whole thing off, it's 8% contained. And it's burning like, it's going like wild. I mean, it seems like they would have more help come in. What is being grotesquely underreported is the complete decimation of Altadena. Yeah, and the mobile home park on the PCH in Pacific Palisades. That's wild. Yeah, and who is gonna? You can't even get up there to really see it. They control the air. They, you know, obviously won't let the drones. You can't have drones going out. So you almost have to know people. We almost have to know people in the area to get this kind of information. Because they've reported, the news has reported 11 deaths from this, and 5 are only on this app here that I've been telling you about, or at least the website. I've put together that if they cannot, this is what I have put together through the years watching these fires happen. If they cannot identify who it is, they do not talk about the death. And until they can get the identification of the person, that's when they name the death. And so that's what I put together. So you know that that is definitely getting underreported for sure. And then all you have, if you go on TikTok, which by the way is currently potentially going to be banned. The Supreme Court took a look at the case today, and they're going to be ruling one day before Trump goes into office on the 19th of January, whether or not this app will be able to remain. And it appears that Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, is going to potentially buy this. But it does appear that if he does, even if he can buy this, it's going to change severely. So it's not even going to be the same. So I'm on there under PromoGirl07. And so come find me there. And we'll just try to do what we can. This is where all the news is really happening, is over there on TikTok. I'm going to go back and we're going to see if there's anything else before I go. This is a very distressing time for people.
Still think that we have an amazing fire department. There's almost 10,000 firefighters here from all over the world. And it's a blessing to have all these people here. And the helicopters are working now because the planes aren't working at night.
Sorry.
But we're seeing the drops. We're seeing the spotters come in and they're dumping water as fast as they can. You have stations from all over coming to help right now. And it's a blessing help save all these homes.
Certainly an all hands on deck situation. We were talking, there were just a minute ago, there were helicopters circling here.
Right.
What can you tell us about what those helicopters are doing?
That helicopter with the light that's shining down is telling the other helicopters that are running in a pattern where to drop water. And then they'll follow through. And there's so many helicopters operating this evening, so they have a pattern that they have to run in, and then they'll come back out, scoop more water, then come back in.
And certainly it seems to be working.
It seems to be. I mean, I've seen this definitely dim a lot. I mean, we still see blaze, but I mean, that's just common. But once this is burned out, it's really hard for it to reignite again. So, and that's a blessing if we can get this knocked out.
All right, Caleb, thank you for all you've been doing for the past few days. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. So again, we're in the Mountain Gate area where they are under an emergency evacuation order. One thing I do notice that has changed in just the past few minutes or so, the wind seems to be picking up, and I wouldn't call it a wind. It's a slight.
Just let's look at her. She's literally standing there, and ashes are falling from the sky. Ashes are falling from the sky. She has like an N95 mask on, which she definitely has to have. You know, I've seen people better equipped to stand there and under this. It seems like she's not very well equipped. Her eyes probably burning. I mean, she should put some goggles on and just screw how she looks. I mean, Jesus, just seriously, I just don't understand some of the mentality of these.
We're going to eventually get Liz's camera there too, because I think she has a great perspective. But I want to show you where Liz is. This is the Mountain Gate community right here. So the 405, and I'm going to expand this out for you just a second. This is the 405. This is Mountain Gate, and I'm going to expand it. So let it lock in. This is Mountain Gate right here where Liz is. And you see that. Okay, so it's a number of homes. It's a beautiful little community. Mountain Gate Country Club is right over here. And if I shrink it up a little bit more, and then you can see basically where the fire is right there. So that's her perspective, where you can see they're right by the fire on the west side of the 405. That's Liz's perspective. Let me move up here a little bit, and then we're going to get over here onto the east side of the 405. Right here, this is Longbow. This is where Kevin just was, along with Gabe. They're standing right over here. The 405 is right over here, and then the fire is right over. Sorry, I'm going to go a little bit.
Yeah, basically, I told this when I first came on. There's mandatory evacuations right now. The San Fernando Valley is being evacuated, and it's from the Palisades Fire, Sunset Boulevard north to Encino Reservoir, from the 405 freeway west to Mandeville Canyon. Encino and Tarzana are the areas that are being affected right now. This just occurred about 1 hour ago, and I am on TikTok where you can really get all the breaking news. This is from ABC7. So there is a war going on between Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump is calling for Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, to resign. He says he needs to resign. There's a lot of information that I put up on my Truth Social as well. I'm trying to capture all this live time, so they're going back and forth. And so basically, Gavin Newsom has come back and said people are literally fleeing. Kids have lost their schools. Communities have lost their churches. Families have lost their homes. Some have even lost their lives. And the president-elect's response is to politicize it. We'll continue to focus on what matters, saving lives and putting these unprecedented fires out. So, okay, I got in trouble. I have a community guideline violation. Another one. How do I even make it on here? I get in trouble everywhere. So I just realized it was from the Fox video of that. I'm going to make sure not to say. I'm going to show you my little drawing. It's from this. This is what TikTok does not want anybody to know about. Wait a minute. Oh, not show it. How come I could show it a second ago? Here it is. Oh my gosh. This was caught on a Fox News video. And it was coming down, and I now am in trouble on TikTok for showing I think it was like 7 seconds, so I'm in trouble. And Donald Trump One of the best and most beautiful parts of the United States of America is burning down to the ground, its ashes, and Gavin Newsom should resign. This is all his fault. He put that out on 1/8 at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And another thing I put on out there on TikTok is that President Joe Biden happened to be in town the exact day that all these fires started up. So that was on the 7th. That was a Wednesday. And so no aircraft could be in the air. Nothing. They couldn't fight anything because he was here. So you can't have aircraft above when the president is in town. And so he stayed in town overnight and did a press conference with Newsom on the very next day. And I said, wow, isn't that something that he was here for that? Wasn't that something? Mayor Karen Bass is in a lot of trouble. She was out of town in Ghana and Africa when all of this was taking place. And so she's catching a lot of heat. And there is another video that has gone viral about how she was questioned by, it was Sky News Australia, and she didn't say a word. So you need to look that up. Sorry, I just don't have all this pulled up for you. I'm able to look back and see it. Let's just go see if there's anything else before I leave. Yeah.
I have friends that have lost their homes in both Altadena and the Palisades. So for it to be literally right down the street from me feels unbelievable. I'm a mess. I can't formulate sentences. We're just trying to get out with whatever we can at this point. But you know what? We just need to get out safely. My parents are a mile down the street, so I'll need to evacuate them with me as well.
Is it in part because you have that connection to people who, sadly lost things that you decided we need to go down?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we are learning from the past, the Palisades mass exodus, where people left their cars and it was a very panic-stricken situation. And so if we can learn and, behave better and try to avoid that kind of situation and all that congestion, let's do it. We have fair warning at this point.
So right now it's just grab the essentials.
Grab the essentials, our medication. There's been so much great information out there about here's what you need to pack in case of an evacuation. We've been packed now for 2 days, so we're ready to go.
And what she's talking about, just in case you missed it, is the day one, people got out of their cars and had to flee on foot. They just took off running, and they had to bulldoze cars out of the way because the fire was moving so fast, and the people were not, they were gridlocked. And so that's what she's talking about there. That was day one. There's a lot of censorship happening. TikTok is a little better, I think, for me than YouTube even. And so, is all that going to come to an end? Is it? I don't know.
For that live report, things definitely looking better on this particular end of the Palisades fire. We do not want to neglect the Eaton fire, by the way. Of course, that fire still burning in Los Angeles County. And so just the latest numbers we have on the Eaton fire is that some 14,117 acres have burned. These numbers coming from the LA County Fire Department. Only 3% contained. This fire, of course, was it started at 6:18 p.m. on January 7th. Still looking for the cause. 5 civilians have died in the Eaton fire, and 5 firefighters have been injured in the Eaton fire. We've been spending a lot of time. I just wanted to update you on that because those numbers have changed a little bit. We had new acreage numbers and, of course, new numbers about firefighters. We're not neglecting the Eaton fire. We are very concerned right now with this because there's been a flare-up of the Palisades fire that seemed for a time to threaten the part of LA, Encino. And so we're just keeping an eye on all of this and anything that involves the potential.
So basically, I just wanted to give you, an update on all this. There are a lot of people already collecting donations, and there was a hotel that was gosh, it was out in Torrance, I thought, that was taking people and accepting donations. And I know I think Airbnbs and out here in Orange County were letting people that evacuated stay for free. I've caught some of this, but I haven't been able to verify the last couple of things. We were going to go out and try to donate to the hotel and find that out, but I don't want to get into that right now because I have to vet it and make sure it's all really true and everything. So anyway, thank you so much. Please keep California in your prayers, and especially in the night hours. This is when it gets really scary. I can't tell you, I was shocked to have this wind event a couple nights ago. It was 75-mile gusts. I mean, my patio was wrecked. I could not believe it. I mean, it was just knocking my big plants down and just all the stuff arranged. And then I just couldn't believe it. I was so afraid for the little squirrels. They live in the trees. I'm like, did they blow away? I finally found them the next day. I saw them, and it's just been, oh gosh, so emotional and difficult to sleep at night. I want to reassure everybody that my family, it lives in Orange County, and so far we're good. And then I have Paul's, my mother-in-law, and other family is in Hesperia, so they're actually clear skies, and praise God, no fires, and it's just been amazing. I look at the notifications there, and I see that, or the what do you call the weather, and I notice that they have clear skies, and so thank God they're okay. Please keep us in your prayers. A lot of friends and family, their friends, my friends, and their families are in this, and it is bad. It is really bad. So they're being evacuated, and it's not something I guess anybody saw coming. But look at this. Here we are on the 10th January. It's 10:09 p.m. I want to thank everybody for listening. Please take these evacuations serious, and please ask God to protect you and give you just be connected to the Spirit of the Lord. It's just, you need to be connected to God right now, and you need to hear from Jesus. And so there's a lot of great comments coming in, and I appreciate everybody's comment. And so God bless y'all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back for more updates real soon. And let me know if you're being affected in this, and please comment. I really would like to know. And I do have a running prayer request on my Facebook page under Crystal Myers-Barber. If you can go find me there, and if you need prayer, please let us know. Or if you have any information that we need to know about, it'd be great. Thanks again for watching.